Hey everyone, it's the Detroit Gamesters, and we're back for episode 17. I'm here with my co-host Shamir,
What up? What up?
and we're here to talk about some more news. It's been a couple of days, maybe 9 to 10 days since our
Yeah, I
last
think we're a
episode.
little better on this one because I
Yeah,
feel like we went like a month, and then now it was kind of back to back. But yeah, I guess I've been a little more plugged into gaming recently, so I was like, hey, yeah, maybe we should do one sooner rather than later.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I made a little progress in Doom: The Dark Ages, so I mean, I still say that like the complaints I had before are still staying true now. Nothing has really changed. It's still fun overall, but and I like that's easy to get in, quick in and out. But I'm looking forward to finishing this. I'm on chapter 13, I want to say, so I know there's 22. I'm getting there slowly but surely, but I think I'm going to start Pokemon Legends Za this Friday and play both of those in parallel.
Oh, is this
So,
seriously coming out like this week?
you know.
Dang, man. So I knew like I was gonna go hard on the games like this month, but man, like when it hit, like
There's so many
it's
now.
just taken over. And I guess I didn't even put two and two together. Maybe I'm just an idiot, probably. But
You probably
I
are.
just thought Hades 2 this whole time was coming out on Switch in December. And I just realized that it got released on the Switch, like digital release last month,
Yes.
actually.
Yeah.
And the physical release is coming out all the way in December.
It's so
And
weird.
it's a $20 price difference. So it's $30 digital, $50 for the disc
That's crazy.
or the cartridge. So then when that occurred to me, I was like, okay, why am I waiting? I might as well just start playing
Yeah.
Hades now. So yeah, I downloaded it, and man, I have not been this addicted to a game in so long. I played so much, I gave myself a migraine. Like I think I'm seriously getting my wife worried. I'll tell myself like
Yes.
5 minutes.
Yes. Join the dark
And
side.
this has not happened to me in so long. I literally will tell myself 5 minutes, and next thing I know, it's been 2, 3 hours. Like I have not gamed this intensely in so long. Hades 2 is just way too damn addicting.
Anakin join the dark side.
Oh, I'm totally there.
Join
I had this problem with Hades 1 as well, but man, I don't know. Hades 2, I've just been going ham
You've
on it.
taken it a whole new level. So what's different that you enjoy more between the two?
So
Or is it more addicting?
actually, I would say overall Hades 1 is more. I enjoyed Hades 1 more. I think Hades 2 might be more addicting because um,
They refined the gameplay loop.
so the thing is, when you die in Hades 2, you get a lot of resources, and I just feel like your upgrade paths feel more material in Hades 2. So even when you fail, you still feel like you're right there, right? Because you're like, okay, I know I'm going to do this run, but I'm going to suck, but I'm going to farm this material so I can upgrade my person. So I found myself doing a lot of runs in Hades 2 solely just to farm. And I don't feel like I did that as much in Hades 1. And I guess that kind of goes to my critique of Hades 1 versus Hades 2. I don't think you've played either of them. Um, but in so the way do you kind of understand how the game works in Hades?
It's a roguelike, right? So
It's a
if you
roguelike, yeah. But it's based off of Greek mythology, so you're the children of Hades. And so basically, with each round, you get a random boon, like a gift from a god. Not every round, but most of the rounds. And it'll be any of the random gods. And so they all have very different fighting styles, because, like, obviously Zeus is thunder, and, Poseidon is the sea, so it's going to be a very different style. And you have, like, three different attacks and then a couple of different moves. So you basically have like skill trees, just like an RPG, but it's random which god is going to be assigned to which skill tree, and then you just upgrade from there. So I was just trying to explain the background, because I think one of the big things I've noticed between Hades 1 and Hades 2, in Hades 1, if you got certain combinations of certain gods together, you could unlock like these special like duo boons, and they were so powerful. Like you went from like level like power level like 900 to like power level like 9 million. Like it was just like such a drastic jump that like that was like so addicting to me, because like, oh man, if I just get the right god combo, like I'm good. So I felt like in the first Hades, I just basically had to keep experimenting around until I found like two gods that just meshed together really well. I got all their boons. Then I was super strong. I just like decimated Hades, and it was like such an amazing run, right? But in Hades 2, it's really different, because even when you get like different god combinations in those duos, like it doesn't actually leap your power that much. So because of that, you really have to grind and get all these different material, and like slowly build up your arsenal, and like it actually feels more like an RPG in that scenario because you're like a witch, right? So you're like brew these incantations and all those things that'll slowly increase, like stack things in your favor. Um, and at your base level, even without any of the god powers, like you have a lot of flexibility in your attack patterns. So like if that makes sense, like the ceiling feels lower, but you already start off higher,
Hmm.
right? And so and for whatever reason that ended up being more addictive to me in Hades 2, but less rewarding overall.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like, think about it. Like, you're starting the game off somewhat powerful. You could probably progress probably fairly far, and then once you realize you can't overcome a challenge, that's when the grinding
Yeah, yeah.
occurs.
And so yeah, I mean, there's two different pathways, the upper and the lower level. And I think a lot of reviewers gave it a 10 because they're like, oh yeah, you can jump up between the upper and lower level. And again, maybe I'm just an idiot, but I didn't realize you have to brew this specific potion to do it, and I didn't know how to brew the potion. So I basically just stuck to the lower level. And I beat the final boss. Spoilers, but it really shouldn't be that much of a spoiler. It's Kronos, right?
Yeah.
And the story premise is really cool. Kronos comes back and he's basically like raging war. So it's like the Titans versus the gods, and then you were trying to beat the Titans using magic.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, Kronos is super hard, man. Oh my that boss battle was insanely
I
hard.
remember seeing you do that last boss fight. I remember at your house.
Yeah, with Hades, right? So
Yeah.
he was way harder than Hades in my opinion because of all the time like warping and stuff. And man, I tried all these different strategies, and I think this could kind of speak to the difference in Hades 1 and Hades 2. Hades 1, I really had to get like some crazy combo of gods, boons, and then I whooped his ass. You know how I beat Hades 2? I was like, you know what? I'm trying to get the perfect god combo of boons. It's not working. Let me just throw everything I have to like insane vitality. So I gave myself like 500 health instead of like trying to maximize my build, and I whooped him
It's
because I was like, I feel like I'm already pretty powerful at the base level. Like I know the attack patterns, I know my weapon really well. I just need more health, and that's all I needed. I just needed like twice as much health as usual.
Jesus
Because
Christ.
normally I would run in there with like 150 health, 200. I gave myself like 500, and then I was good. So I don't know if you would like this game. Like I was telling you about it, it's probably it might be close to my game of the year. I don't know. It was really an enjoyable game, but
Yeah, I mean, just for me right now and where I'm at, like, I don't want a game that's too grindy and difficult.
it's so
Like,
man, it takes over your life.
yeah, like, okay, give me one aspect. A difficult game, but not grind worthy. So, like, a first person shooter, like, that's just difficult. That, like, when I look at Resistance, there's like, you playing hard, but, like, it wasn't grindy. Or grindy, but I can enjoy the story and I know I'll keep making progress. But if you come on both of them, dude, like, it's game
Yeah,
over.
I feel like like roguelites. Like I really don't like roguelike genres, but I really like Hades, and I think it's because the storytelling, the way they mix it in, and I
And the
love
art style.
like Greek myths, and God of War is no
Yeah.
longer in the Greek
It's,
era, so there's nothing filling that niche for
yeah.
me. So I think it hits on that realm, but I do wonder like. Would I just enjoy Hades 2 more if it was just a traditional RPG, And I could choose whatever god I wanted to follow. I can even like switch between one god and another, just like you build a skill tree, you pull off the skill tree, you build it up like Diablo. Like I almost feel like I would like that more because
Yeah.
so much of the time I spent on Hades 2 was because I kept getting the Chronos. I didn't know his attack patterns, so I would die, and basically I just needed to fight him like 5 times to learn his attack pattern,
Right.
and then I would whoop him. But in order to do that, I had to go through the whole game,
Yeah, I know. It's a
and
pain.
each time it takes like an hour and a half to 2 hours, and that's if like you have a decent build, right? And if you just so happens you have just this complete crap build, which sometimes happens, not often, but sometimes doesn't, is kind of waste your time.
Yeah, it's just
And
time.
so even like what I like about this game is it still feels like everything is counting towards something because you're getting a lot of resources and you're farming. But yeah, it does get annoying that you have to keep like grinding all that out just to get the Chronos, and you're like, if I just knew Kronos' attack patterns, which you're gonna learn, right? Then I whoop his butt.
Yeah, I almost agree with that. Like, maybe, yeah, if it was more of the style of, like, just a Diablo, like action
Yeah,
RPG ish, and you just progress through. There was a good story of a 30-hour campaign or something, and then you could play as multiple characters if you
yeah,
wanted to switch builds. I wonder if, like, they would ever consider taking that. Like, I get this game is
probably
super
not. I
popular, but
mean,
yeah,
the thing is, like, I feel like this is just the best example of a roguelike, and they do it really well. And it might not translate the same because like a part of the story is that you die, and each time you die, characters want to talk to you and they tell you different things.
yeah.
So
I mean,
But
I
I
will.
like how God of War did it. Like, I like how you have this epic story, right? This Norse story, and then you have a DLC that's a roguelike.
Yeah,
And then you
yeah.
get the best of both worlds.
I almost wonder if like now that two is also probably doing well, and if it sells well, why not have like spin-off like titles that are you use the IP and the story and say we want to experiment. Maybe if it becomes even more popular, I don't know. And then they branch
Yeah.
off and then they do something
Yeah,
different.
I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, I'm just really happy to see something in that space. And just, it's so nice to see how different, like, the God pathways are and what that would mean for the gameplay. And haven't really seen that anywhere else.
Yeah, it's
But
Yotei. But I
But yeah,
also
I don't think they're gonna move away from roguelite. I just feel like they're
yeah,
the father of roguelites. They do it so well, you know?
yeah, and on top of it, like the way they I think released this game was interesting because they did have it in beta for a while and
Yeah.
they got a ton of feedback. Like, was it a year prior, up to a year prior? I don't know. They released this in a way where like they were iterating on the game and they made sure they heard their fans and then found the right time to release it when they're 1.0. And on top of that, I just can't get over their art. It's amazing.
Oh
Like
yeah.
their trailers, their gameplay, like it's aesthetically, like it's also popping, and I think that adds a little bit to the flair of the game. It's
Oh
not
yeah.
just the fact that the gameplay is good; it's like the art just speaks.
Oh yeah.
So that got me so interested. I almost bought the game just because of the art style. I was like, I think I should, but then when you explain more, I was like, okay, I can't.
Yeah. I think if you could invest a lot of time, it'd be worth it because if you're not used to Hades, you're gonna find it really challenging
Right?
and punishing. And in order for you to get good at it, you're gonna have to put so many hours that you're gonna be like, I don't have this much time. I'd rather play other
Yeah,
games,
I'd rather
right?
play Mario Galaxy.
Right. So, all right, I know you love your Mario, but this is the first game I've really played a lot on my Switch, and I know everyone loved Donkey Kong, but I really didn't like Donkey Kong that much.
It's
Like,
divisive, like Donkey Kong. Like, there's people out there saying, I don't see what the whole
I don't get the
hullabaloo
hype.
is,
Like, it's fun to go around and break stuff. Like, I agree.
but maybe it wears off quickly.
But yeah, after a while, I don't really feel the hook or the need, and I get what people say where they just feel like it's kind of too easy of a game. Like, I think if I was no offense to Donkey Kong fans, like I really don't want to come off as offensive, but like if I was a
Oh,
younger gamer and I didn't just play a bunch of like Elden Ring and like super hard games, right? Like it'd be different.
Sekiro and
But like now that I'm so used to these games, like where my attention is so glued in every moment, it's hard for me to play a game like Donkey Kong. And like, yeah, it's not like I don't like chill games. Like Astrobot is kind of chill, but like there was a level of variety and newness to Astrobot that like kept my brain fixed and I was still getting my dopamine hit. But like
that's interesting.
with Donkey Kong, I just find myself disengaging because I'm like, okay, it's not like everything is so vastly different, so I'm getting a dopamine hit there. It's not like the gameplay is so demanding, I'm getting a dopamine hit there.
Yeah.
So
What's keeping you
I'm
hooked?
playing and I'm like, what's keeping me hooked? And if it was a year when it wasn't so busy, I'd be like, it's nice. I had a long day of work. I'll chill. But yeah, if I have like 5, 6 amazing games I've been waiting for a while, like
Yeah.
it's gonna go to the back of my list.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of where we differ. Is like I didn't get hooked to Elden Ring or the Sekiro's or the other Bloodborne esque or Dark Soul esque games, and so for me, it's like it's always like a quick and easy. Can I pick up a game, make some progress, make like or make it feel as if I'm working towards something and not starting over and over again. That's why Silk Song doesn't speak to me either.
Yeah.
So I think that's where we differ.
Yeah, I mean, I think you might like Silksong better. I can actually see you playing Silksong
Hmm.
because it starts off like pretty approachable, and later it gets like it does get hard.
Okay.
I'm at the point where it starts getting hard, but the move set is pretty straightforward. And a lot of times where it's difficult, you can just kind of slowly work your way through stuff.
Okay.
But like even though everyone loves Hollow Knight, and I feel like this might be divisive, but like after Hades too, like I don't really have a desire to go back to Hollow Knight.
Okay.
Like I got decently far in it. I've seen videos of later levels, and they do look really good to me. But I personally think like Hades and we'll get to this, like Ghost of Yotai and some of these other games, or even Ninja Gaiden 4, all these games on the horizon, they just feel like they're a step above. And I like Hollow Knight. I like that team. I like that it's $20, but so there's all those things going in its favor, but it doesn't reach that same level for me.
Okay, that's interesting.
So we'll see. Maybe I'll pick it up when it's a slower time period or slower year. But I think right now I'm just all in on Hades too, and I beat the lower levels, so now I'm just playing the upper levels, and that's pretty epic too because you get to go to Olympus, and so that's kind of like a nice change of pace.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if I had to review the game right now, I'd give it a solid 9. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't give it a 10, because I think it's hard for me to consider like a roguelike like a 10,
Yeah.
and I do think that it, as nice as it is for you to have to like figure things out on your own, I think there's some key things in the game that you have to figure out on your own, but they're like really central things, like, hey, how do I get to the upper levels? Like, okay, there's like 10 things to brew, but like this one thing is really important for me, right? You don't really get that from the game, right?
Okay.
And I think because of that, it kind of makes the experience like a little bit harder than it needs to be, right? So I think it's close to a 10, but yeah, I'd give it a 9. But overall, I'm pretty happy with it.
Okay.
And I guess, yeah, really, this is the most I've gamed in a while because I also got into Ghost of Yotai.
Sheesh. I
Sheesh.
remember you saying over the summer how you were like, it was like a huge lull, and you're like, I got nothing left, and
I
what the
know.
hell's going
It was
on?
crazy. I was like, oh, I got so much other stuff. I've like gone into football. I'm getting back into
That's a
writing.
man right there.
All this other stuff.
That's a man right
Got to
there.
rep the Lions. But then all of a sudden, end of September came, beginning of October. I'm like, oh Jesus Christ!
When it rains,
I'm
it
about to be
pours.
hooked. It's crazy how much is coming out between September and October. Like this
Yeah.
is the most stacked it's been in a while. But yeah, Ghost of Yotai. I guess the simple thing I can say for this game, I was underwhelmed. Like overall, I was like, oh, yeah, it's a pretty good game, right? But like, it wasn't really like blowing my mind. And then this is such a small thing, but I got to the part where kind of spoilers, but not really. There's different like zones you have to explore,
Spoilers.
and they're all very. This is not really spoilers. So different
Okay.
zones you have to explore, and they're all like fairly different, right? And so like one is snowy, one is like this like red area that kind of feels like fall, and so that makes sense with like the where it is in Japan. But anyways, I got to this one part, and all this, and I basically am riding my horse next to another character. I won't spoil who it is, and they're riding their horse, and
Spoiler.
all of a sudden, like I feel like there's like this like Japanese song that some girl is singing. She has this beautiful voice. She's singing in Japanese. I'm reading the lyrics. They're like super epic, and it just felt like the perfect ode to samurais in Japan. And I was like, oh man, like I felt like the first game. It was just a bunch of people like from the West America who were just like massive fanboys of Japan, and I was like, okay, like maybe I'd rather have Japanese people from Sony actually make this game. But when I saw this, and I was like, oh man, like this is just like a love letter to everything that we love about Japan, and it was just so well executed. The way you're moving through the environment, like you feel like a samurai. You're on these horses. The song and lyrics are totally something you would see in a samurai movie. And then after that, I get off and I'm like exploring. I'm listening to like the Samurai Champloo, like
Okay,
lo-fi
I was gonna
vibe.
ask if
Yeah, I'm listening to that. I'm
can
like,
you
oh, it's so cool.
can you switch that on and off pretty easily or no?
Oh yeah, you just go into settings and then you can like choose between a couple of modes.
Okay.
And then I picked the Samurai Champloo. Like that music isn't all the time,
Yeah.
but it is there like when you're exploring the world. And man, artistically, this game just blows you away. I don't think, from a graphics perspective, it's really like jaw dropping, like blowing me away. Like when I played Horizon Forbidden West and I played that game, it was like open world, and I saw those monsters and everything. I was like, oh man, this is insane. Like this is next gen. I'm playing this game and I haven't had that like next gen feel, and it might be because like Death Stranding came out, all these games came out. So from like raw graphics, like Ghost of Yotai is not on that upper echelon, but it's close,
Okay.
right? But from like the art style, oh man, it's so epic. Like just the scale, and you're like seeing the mountains in the background, and the way they've actually created these maps gives you such an amazing sense of scale.
Mm.
You're like going through these fields, and like the white flower patches will give you a speed boost, and you're just blasting through, and then your screen becomes widescreen. It just feels epic, it
Okay.
really does. So that's
So
all really good.
so you would say like it hasn't really innovated from the
No,
first
it has
game.
not
It's
innovated.
not
I just feel like what the first game did well, this does better,
okay.
right? Um, but I would say that some of the flaws from the first game are still there. Like I like the gameplay more, right? But at least where I'm at, and maybe it'll change as I get further. They really try and stress, okay, use the katana for this person, use the
Yeah.
double blades for this person. I'm like, Honestly, I'm not even switching. Like I'm just
Oh, you
destroying
can
people.
still okay.
Yeah, because you're still damaging people. Like, okay, yeah, you're not going to be able to build your block meter as much, but you know,
So wait a minute. Is there difficulties in this game?
I think so. I'm playing the standard difficulty, so okay. So if I played the hard mode, maybe it would be different, and
Yeah.
I'd have to. But
But the difference between this and the first game is the first game had stances, right? So
yeah,
that's gone.
so I think this is better. Definitely switching between weapons is better.
Okay.
But I don't know. Again, this this might be a contentious opinion, but at least my early impressions of Assassin's Creed Shadow versus Ghost of Yotai is the better game. I think Assassin's Creed Shadow's gameplay is better. Like I actually
Okay.
looked more forward to like the fights when I was like, you know, the girl and I was fighting a samurai. Like the samurais actually felt powerful. Like their blows felt powerful.
Mm.
You know, this kind of feels like more like a stylized Hollywood film. Like
Yeah.
when you're fighting,
So does this feel spongy attacking the characters, or is it
no,
just
like I mean, it's really bloody. Like it feels like that, but in the end of the day, I'm doing like the same thing, right?
yeah?
It's like super obvious. Like these enemies will come towards you, and you dodge everything, and you can block everything just by holding the block button. So that doesn't really make anything difficult. And then if it's blue, you dodge or you parry. If it's red, you only dodge and that's it. And then you just spam the attack button. So like it's really simplistic. The only difficult part comes when you're overwhelmed by enemies and the camera sucks.
Mm.
You can change the camera so it's auto lock on, but the game doesn't want you to do that because it wants you to feel more like a samurai. So that's where the difficulty comes. But from the actual one-on-one battles, like
It's nothing.
they're not that bad. Like the boss battles are hard. I had like this one boss battle and the guy was pretty intense. So I enjoyed that, but I was also really underleveled, and I was still able to be the boss, right?
Wow.
Because I didn't really like try and grind anything. So overall, I'd say the game is really good. It's absolutely worth playing, but still, like I don't know, the gameplay is great, but it's not like amazing. You know,
Okay.
I wouldn't even say it's good. I would say the gameplay is great, just not amazing. And when you have like other games like Sekiro and other games that have just mastered their
Yeah.
gameplay systems,
Immaculate.
you know, yeah, let's say the gameplay system is like an 8.5 and a 9. I'm very happy with that. But my problem with Ghost has always been people talk about it like it's a 10 out of 10 game, and for me it's like an 8.5, 9 game, which I'm really
Yeah. I
happy
mean,
with, you know, and I'm really looking
it's.
forward to playing it. But it's not.
I think you'll finish the game based on what you're saying. It's one of those things where again they also attempted to focus on a story, and that's the difference. That's what stands out between this and a Sekiro. But the problem is the story is so it's been rehashed
Oh
in so
really?
many. I mean, I think that's a revenge story. That's
Oh
what
yeah,
it
yeah,
is.
yeah.
That's done in Hollywood often. That's done in so many
Yeah.
games.
So I
Like
just looked it up. This has an 87 on OpenCritic. I think that's pretty accurate. Maybe my
that's
opinion will
high.
change later. I would say it's 85 for me.
Okay,
Right? So
that's
this
good.
is good, you know. I'm
I,
happy with the game.
I'll be curious to know how this compares to when Animusha Way of the Sword comes out. So
Yeah.
next year, that looks like very unique
So that's
gameplay.
what I mean. Like, at least when you're looking at that gameplay, you're like, man, this feels like a gameplay system that's mastered. Like, I haven't played it,
Yeah.
right? But just the nuance, how different it is versus everything, you know, I don't feel like that's a game where you can just, you know,
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to
slash
just
everything.
slash.
And like, even Ninja Gaiden, like, yeah, it's a hack and slash, but not really. Like, if you just
Yeah.
try and hack and slash your way through Ninja Gaiden, like, you're gonna get owned,
Yeah.
right? But I feel like in Ghost, my problem is there's a proper way to play, and if I play that way, then I do really good.
Okay.
But if I just like play mindless and I just hack and slash,
Kind of
I can
ruins,
still do pretty good,
but it ruins the experience a little
right?
bit. Yeah.
As opposed to other games, like if I try and do that in Ninja Gaiden, like no,
No.
no,
Yeah.
the game will punish me.
That's a good point. That's a good
And so
point.
that's like the difference for me. And like maybe if I play hard mode, it'll be different, and then it'll be a different conversation.
Maybe I don't even
But
know though.
but again, like that's to me like what separates like the highest echelon of these like samurai action adventure games between like which are like 10 compared to like 8.5 and 9.
Yeah, I just feel like I don't know if that would be the case if you played harder. Like I feel like Sony particularly tells their studios to do this intentionally, and I'm not saying like, oh my god, like you have to make this. It's more like they also know they have a ton of lay or
Oh yeah,
average consumers playing the
and people who
game.
just probably want the story.
Yeah, and if they can't really progress with the way they've directed the gameplay, they go, all right, if you just brute force this, of course we want you to still progress. Like I feel like that's intentional
Oh
design, in my
yeah.
opinion.
And I guess the last thing I'd have to say about that is like the whole controversy around the fact that the main character is a woman, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of have mixed feelings about it. Like the way the story presents itself, like the fact that the main character is a woman doesn't really seem that odd or out of place,
Yeah.
And they actually acknowledge the fact that she's a woman and she's a samurai, and people underestimate her, and then she drops them up, right?
Yeah.
And I remember when I was talking about Assassin's Creed Shadow, I was like, okay, like maybe she should have been a ninja, like in Assassin's Creed Shadow, because the samurai is so massive and the woman is so small, right? But in this game, like I think they didn't try and make her like the Stellar Blade type of woman. They tried to make her like the type of woman you'll see at like our gym, like a girl who like at Club Studio or like, like
You
some.
trying to?
No, I don't mean it like that. I mean like someone who works out, but they're not like a bodybuilder
Yeah.
necessarily, right?
They're in
Like
shape. They're
someone
fit.
who's strong, and like I've seen like when I'm walking by, like some of these girls are like they're benching like quite a bit amount of weight,
You
so
see?
they're like pretty strong. All right, Arjun, don't make it weird. Don't make it weird. I'm married,
You
but my
see?
point is like like you don't necessarily need to have like this like drop dead gorgeous girl
Yeah.
or like this drop dead gorgeous girl who's also a bodybuilder. Like she looks like your typical girl
Yeah.
who just works really hard and is in good shape
Which
and now is very skilled with the katana, which to me is kind of more believable for the time, because it's like it's not like you have the whole like gym industry we have nowadays that can make people
with
like
access
totally
to
warped, right?
well, that and like in this game, doesn't it happen where her family, spoilers, her family is slaughtered as a
Oh
young
yeah,
kid, so
yeah,
she has her
and you
whole
see
life
that.
to train.
And then what she basically explains, yeah, like there was these crazy wars, in like mainland Japan, right, which happened, right, and I was a Ronin for 16 years,
Yeah.
and I got very good with the sword, and I came back, and then you're like, yeah, this totally makes sense.
That makes sense.
And so like to me, it was believable. It was, and I got it. I like the way the game started too, right? And you instantly fighting people, and then after that, you like revisit the town where you were. Well, not really town, the house where you were
The
born.
flashbacks.
And the flashbacks. I don't know if you saw
I've
them,
seen them,
but but that was such a good storytelling device, and really that was like exceptional. Like that was 10 out of 10. Such a good way of giving exposition, making us understand the character, relate with her loss. That was just they Sucker Punch knocked that out of the park.
Yeah, that's a little SSD magic right there. I like how they just quickly change from adult to child.
That was so phenomenal, and I was like, yeah, they nailed this. So based off of that, like I'm excited for where the story goes. Again, I don't want to spoil too much, but I'm hunting down one of the other like six, right? And yeah, some of the things are like cliches, like where I'm at. Like there's definitely cliches, but overall the setting is great. And I would say this game is about where I expected or better.
Okay.
Also, I didn't expect a lot, but
So bar was low.
An 8.5 game is really good to me, and I'm happy with it.
I mean, that's another win for Sony.
Absolutely.
Like, I think this game will sell well. Like, there wasn't a whole lot of buzz leading up to the release, but I actually think this game will sell like 5 million.
So I guess like now that I'm getting more into football, right? Like there's the example when like the Lions completely blow someone out of the water, and then there's an example of like the Lions and they just do what they need to do. Like they did their business. You can't like hate them because it's like they didn't do a terrible job. Yeah. They didn't do like a mind-blowing job. You can't believe it. Like they showed up, got to work, got it done, right? And that's how I feel about this game.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because so there was like a quote recently, maybe it came from an interview, but the creative director of Sucker Punch basically said, look, we're a one-team studio, and right now our pipeline, the way it exists, is we create one game at a time. We don't have parallel teams. We don't create multiple games. And they're like, it's akin to like being in college and switching careers, or like, how do they say it? Yeah, like switching careers or finishing like our degree. It's like we only do one at a time. That happens every 5 years. So like when someone had asked them like, would you be willing to, or are you working on something else, or would you be willing to go something else? They're like, we'll see if we do another sequel, if we go back to Sly Cooper or something else. But not to say I'm disappointed. It's like, okay, we got 2 movies out of this. 2 games out of this. A movie's coming for this. I do hope like after the DLC, they just pivot to something new.
Yeah, I wonder what they're going to do after this, because I feel like, I feel like they've done a lot of justice to this, and I'm satisfied after Ghost of Yotai. Yeah. Like my whole feeling about the studio has went up. Like I feel much better about Sucker Punch than I used to. It's not like Ghost of Tsushima was a bad game, but I personally like Infamous better.
Yeah, same.
But I like Ghost of Yotai. I like what they delivered. My stock is up, and if they wanted to do something else, I would be totally happy about it.
Yeah, I would be too, and I hope again. I think it's time for them to continue to move forward. Like, don't revisit old IPs because a lot of people ask for remasters of
Yeah.
Infamous and all stuff. It's time to drop
Yeah, I
that.
mean, I
Like,
think if you're going to do that, you have to break apart. Like, you can't have your main team doing like another Infamous or Sly for like 5 years. You
yeah,
know, like if you want to break apart and do something like that, that makes sense,
yeah,
right? Um, if they made another Ghost game and they made it a trilogy, I would be fine with that.
okay.
I don't know. I haven't made up my mind yet on what I would want more. If they did something like that, I would want them to get like all the way into like the 1800s, 1900s, like, you know, kind of straddling that timeline. That could be cool.
I mean, I feel like since they're so good in this genre and they have this pedigree, I would love to see them make a Marvel game. You know,
Yeah, but I mean, what Marvel character?
I mean, there's so many.
Is
You
there any
know,
Marvel characters with swords? Deadpool.
Deadpool. Like, yeah, there's like so many.
I wonder if they could do Deadpool. Honestly,
There's the Silver Samurai or something, the one that like fights Wolverine. What, forgot the
yeah,
like they could. There's so many things they could do, and if this is their pedigree and this is the way, like this is a way to keep them afloat and sell a ton of copies of
yeah.
games and keep them in the
But that's what I'm
industry. And
wondering because this game probably cost them a lot to make, right?
yeah,
Because the production quality of Ghost of Yotai is exceptional,
okay,
right? So I would feel like they need to sell as many copies as like maybe not Insomniac, but they have to sell at least like 5, 8 million
5 to 8 million.
copies.
Yeah.
And I think I was reading somewhere they've sold 2 million so
Oh
far.
wow, that's quick.
So that's good. So I think they'll hit those
Milestones.
milestones. But this game could not have been cheap to make, man.
Yeah, I
Like
doubt
this
it.
game must have cost a lot. Um,
It's
so
just it's sad because like we're getting close to the end of this generation. They've only put out one game for the
yeah, that's what
generation.
we're getting, man. It's each of these studios, PlayStation studios
Yeah,
releasing one game,
yeah, that's
right?
crazy. We went from three a generation to one.
I mean, that's the cost of development. But
Yeah.
hey, as long as they're delivering, right? Like if we got Ghost of Yotai and it was a 6, oh god, that would be
That'd
that'd be
be
terrible.
bummer.
Then you
Yeah,
have to wait another five
it's
years,
it's the
right?
whole Rocksteady debacle. Oh, we waited 8 years and we got Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everyone was talking
And I
about.
think, I think we talked about Ghost of Yotai a lot, so there's other things to talk about, but I don't want to sound like I'm like overly down on the game. It's just as a Sony fanboy, like there's been a lot of pent up desire for me for like a 10 out of 10 game. Like I think the last time I played a Sony game that just really blew me away was honestly
God of
God of
War.
War Ragnarok. Like I liked Spider-Man 2, I liked Final Fantasy, both of
16.
them,
Yeah,
but there wasn't a game that hit that niche for me like that level since God of War,
yeah.
right? And like Tears of the Kingdom, like I haven't had a game that hard hitting, and I was just spoiled with PS3 and even like PS4. I was getting those all the time, and it's like these games almost scratch the itch, but they don't get all the way there. If
Yeah,
that makes sense, right?
yeah.
So
Cool.
okay, so that kind of catches us up with what we've been playing. I guess we can talk a little bit about what we've been watching.
Yeah,
I haven't really watched a lot, so this might be more like things you've been watching.
yeah, for sure. I mean, the one thing that I have been watching and I finished is Peacemaker season 2. Again, for those that haven't seen it, I'm like I don't have a high opinion of the show. Like that.
You can spoil it for me.
Okay, because yeah, it's not super crazy, anyways. But this is a continuation or a starts and picks up a couple months after the new Superman movie. There's obviously a tie-in. James Gunn has directed and wrote this show in particular, and and Peacemaker is like really close to him in the way he's written it. He's said that in interviews as much like, "Hey, I love John Cena. I love this character. It's a bridge between like our movies now, and going forward, Peacemaker will be someone pivotal, even though if they don't do a season 3, it's like, okay. Well, what I'm struggling with is if you look at Rotten Tomatoes, Superman, Commandos, Peacemaker season 1 and 2 all have really high ratings. And I'm actually kind of confused as to how. Like, this show, this season in particular, has like between an 85 and 90%, something like that. I just like don't see it. Like, it's a fun watch. It's like stupid fun. There's some really dumb things that happen that I just like at laugh out loud moments, but the substance really isn't there. And like you use a whole season, 8 episodes to just basically show some sympathy for a character and say like, oh, he's a lovable goof, but how does he play a bigger picture into your overall arching like universe? And like you also already made Superman a completely different have a completely different personality and form and like tone than the previous Superman, which was more gritty and dark to some extent. And it's like I guess I see where the tones cross. Like Peacemaker and Superman seem very similar, but there's nothing that has me excited right now about the new DCU. So like I just want to say like it was an interesting concept the way they started this season, which was about again they picked up from Superman. You now have rifts in the universe and in the space. John Cena has access to go to other dimensions with his helmet, and we've seen some of that in season one, and they kind of explore that theme a little further. But other than that, like not much else happens. And by the end of this season, Argus and Rick Flag Sr. end up finding another suitable dimension to potentially host all metahumans. And now his goal is to work with Lex Luthor to put all the metahumans there.
Yeah, that does not excite me or
Yeah.
interest me. Yeah, I mean, I was just curious and I was trying to look it up on. I feel like Rotten Tomatoes is not always the best measure of things because 100% is just saying you have all 100% fresh.
Yeah.
But I think that was a problem we were running in with Halo, the TV series,
Yeah.
right? If we get like 90, everyone's like, oh my God, it's an amazing show. But like, actually, everyone's giving them sevens.
Yeah.
But that counts. So like, all sevens across the board is like 100% on
That's,
Rotten
like,
Tomato,
so
right?
dumb.
And so that just throws people off. But even on IMDb, it's getting good scores. I think it's like an 8. You
That
know?
I'm shocked.
So I'm really surprised. Honestly, I'm like not really liking where DCU is going.
Yes.
I like James Gunn, don't love him, but I don't really like the direction. I don't know why DC is always scrapping stuff and moving and pivoting whenever they're having success. I like Man of Steel better than
Yeah, I do
Superman
too.
as well. So I'm just not interested or curious. And like Peacemaker, like from what
Yeah.
you're telling me, doesn't seem like I need to really watch it.
No, not at all.
And it feels like what we're getting away from is epicness.
Yeah.
Right? Like when we think of like the Dark Knight trilogy, it just felt like larger than life epic,
Yeah.
right? And because like the stories, the characters, it felt like the since we're talking about the Greek gods, like the Greek gods of Or, like those level of epic
Yeah.
stories, but in the modern day.
In the modern day.
And that's why people love this stuff because it's like, people have moved away from a lot of that type of thinking, right? Like Greek gods and all those type of things. But like you still get to like think of these larger than life characters doing larger than life things, right?
Yeah.
And there's like real consequences, real loss. It's like humanity to like the highest level.
Yeah.
But like now we're just getting to this stage where it's like entertainment and like the spectacle is like the visual spectacle or like the jokes or like it's more of a fun time and it doesn't really feel like an epic story that's gonna stand the test of time.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
when you watch one of these like DC like new extended stuff, are you gonna remember what happened 5 or 10 years from now? No, but like even though I don't like remember all the plot points of the Dark Knight trilogy, like I will never forget the Joker.
Yeah.
I will never forget like the feeling of loss that Batman had when the Joker switched the options and he's like, no, or like when Harvey Dent, becomes Two-Face. Like those are just like such iconic, satisfying, epic things that happen, right? Or like when Batman's back got broken, you know? And it's like that's what you gotta borrow from the comics and like throw into real life, right? And like even Man of Steel, like as much as we talk crap about it, but when like Superman had to use his lasers, right? Like things that stick with you.
Like, he's using his lasers. No, sorry. Superman has to make a decision. Kill Zod, which goes against his principles, or let the humans die.
Right? And so like this is real tension, real stakes, real consequences. That's how you relate with your characters. That's how they matter and they mean to you and remember them. But like what was the problem with the new one? Like what was the tension Superman had? Oh, he got beat up in the beginning, but they actually didn't kill him even though he was like close to dying.
Yeah, like there's no tension there. And I feel like, okay, I want to backtrack a second because it's like, I feel like we are shitting a bit on James Gunn. Like, don't get me wrong, the writing in this, it wasn't phenomenal, but
it's
like
better, yeah.
Yeah, like in a vacuum, if I just watched the show and it was not connected to the DC at all, I'd be like, well, this is like an interesting thing. They found a lovable guy. Writing is actually on point, and like the way some of the characters interacted actually hit some really deep themes about like grief and like
Yeah,
being able to access your emotions and this and that and love and this. And it's like they actually did a good job. But in the grand scheme of things, that's not why I'm watching the DCU.
yeah. I feel like these movies are good, but they're not exceptional, right?
Yeah.
And it's like what's happened in this genre, and I guess in a lot of places we really hear is like certain movies have just raised the bar so high,
Yeah.
right? Like, man, we were getting Batman and the Penguin,
Yeah.
right? Like you,
Those
and
are
then you
phenomenal.
get that pedigree, right? You
Yeah.
get that level, like, and now you're saying me, oh, we're going in a different direction, and this is what we have,
Yeah.
like,
Which is why you can tell they're like, oh, but we're not scrapping like the Batman and the Penguin stuff. And it's like, yeah, you know that because
yeah,
it would be too big
it
of
was
a
so
risk.
good,
Yeah, it was
right?
so good. Like they're like, oh, we can't just reboot this. But like if you're gonna go all in, go all in. Like take the resources that you're using for that those films and those people, tell them to move over,
Yeah,
right? I don't know. I just feel like they're all over the place, and we'll
yeah,
see if that works
and
out.
who knows what Marvel's doing, So I just feel like
So
superhero movies are in a weird place, man.
yeah, so New York Comic Con was just the other day, and so they released some new trailers. So like Daredevil season 2, Born Again. Okay, looks interesting. Still doesn't live up to the hype of the original Netflix series. Then they showed off the new season for X Men '97 season 2, and basically one of the directors confirmed they're already looking at a season 3, 4, and 5, which that hype got me hyped because they did a phenomenal
That was
job with
good.
season 1. And then they announced one other thing called Wonder Man, which looks really dumb. It's like their version
Mm.
of what's that show on HBO with Seth Rogen, The Studio. For some reason,
Why do they need to do
it
this?
kind of reminds me of that. I was like, what is
Why do they
this?
need to do this?
It's like it looks so dumb, and I'm like,
Oh man, I gotta look at
why?
this trailer. But what is Marvel doing, man?
I don't know. I was like, why? And this is what you show at one of your biggest Comic Cons? This shit? I'm like, okay. So,
Yeah, I don't know. I really the only thing I feel like I'm looking forward to now is Doomsday.
yeah, same.
And just to see because they're doubling and tripling down on it so much. I'm like, okay, let's see if you got something
Yeah.
right because you seem confident.
They seem confident, we'll see. But that, again, too, a story within maybe 3 hours at most. Like, how much can you really tell? And then we got to, like, wait for another part. Like, I don't know. My hopes I'm excited, but my hopes are, like, actually kind of low. Like, the bar
Mm,
is low for me at this point because I don't think they can do a whole lot, you know?
I see.
You can't
Okay.
salvage it, so.
And then I guess the last thing that I've seen, I saw One Battle After Another, the new Leo movie. That was man, I just feel like it's going to be a lot of good, not greats.
Hmm.
But I'd give that movie an 8.
Man, that movie had such good ratings,
It got like
too.
tens across the board. I think the actual premise of the story is just absolutely ridiculous. It's just such a ridiculous story idea, and it feels really long
Is
and
this one
drawn out.
directed by Martin Scorsese or no?
I don't have
I
no
can't remember.
idea. It feels like it is, but it's so long. But man, what carries the movie is the acting. Like not just Leo's acting, but every single actor from top to bottom is so phenomenal that even when it's just this ridiculous scene and it feels like comical and fake, the actors sell it.
Hmm.
So some of the best acting I've seen in the movie in a long time. I mean, the writing is good, the acting is good. The movie keeps you hooked.
Okay.
It's just such a ridiculous story idea that I'm just like, okay.
Hmm. Okay.
It's about a resistance group, Defense 75, and governments after them. It kind of supposed. It seems like they were trying to have some parallels with Antifa and stuff like
Hmm.
that. So it's kind of like politically charged.
Okay.
Um, but man, Leo is just too good, man. He's so funny. Like this is the most I think I've laughed from a Leo movie since like Wolf on Wall Street. I was not expecting this movie to be this funny, but
Okay.
I was cracking up most of the time. I thought it was going to be a violent movie. It's not. It's not that crazy violent. Um, but yeah, it was good.
I mean, I honestly, again, till this day, the trailers they've released, I have no idea what the hell this movie's about. Like when I watch the trailer, I'm like, what is this? I don't understand it. So we'll see. Now that you said that, I'll give this a chance. I might not watch it in theaters, but when it comes to
Yeah, I
streaming,
think you'll enjoy the movie. It's a good movie, right? I think as soon as I see IGN posting 10 out of 10,
yeah,
like
I'm like,
I'm getting
wait a
overhyped,
second.
and like I like the movie. I recommend people watch it. Right? I think it's one of the best movies we've had this year, but also we haven't had a lot. But I think if you switched out those actors, like the movie would not have done well. Right? It's because the actors were just so freaking good.
Did you watch it with your wife or just watch it by yourself?
No, I just went with a couple of my cousins.
Okay.
So it was fun. I think it was a pretty mixed audience, honestly. It wasn't like
Like when
just
you were there.
yeah, yeah. It wasn't just like all dudes. They had some like they also kind of made some like racial jokes, not racial jokes, but like race was like the component sometimes here and there. Um, I won't ruin it, but like the writing was so clever for the humor. So um, yeah, so I enjoyed that, but yeah, not a 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, it doesn't look good, but when I saw it from my channel, I was like,
So that's I think that's it for that. Maybe we can now talk about some of the breaking news
yeah, yeah,
topics. So I guess this time really we are only talking about Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft, which I feel like we do a lot. But
yeah.
yeah, who do you want to start talking about out of the big three?
I mean, that's a good question. Maybe we'll just start with Pokemon and get that out of the way.
You love your
Yeah,
Pokemon. So I guess we'll talk about the Pokemon leaks.
yeah, I guess so. I mean, twofold. One is like there was a big Terra leak last year, and a lot of things were revealed. But I think the people that leaked it held on to some information and waited until Pokemon Zaw came out to leak more information. Basically, they held on to it. And then two, Pokemon Legends ZA leaked about a week before release. So as of right now, it still isn't released yet. It comes out this Friday, but the full ROM is now already released out in the wild, and people have been playing it. Yeah,
Dude, I would not risk that.
yeah.
Nintendo is gonna be pissed.
Well, what's worse is that the people leaking all the stuff for the game put a bunch of racial slurs all over the images because there's a specific Twitter account that always likes to steal a bunch of information and tout it as their own. Say, hey, here's a link. It's called, the Twitter account's called Central Leaks. If any of you guys are curious, so someone kept posting a bunch of leaks and saying again a bunch of slurs with their name posted on it, so that way they wouldn't use it and steal that information. But it was kind of messed up. Anyways,
Man, people are just so ballsy. They just do not care because Nintendo's gonna go after you. Like anyone else, you're like, maybe I'm not as big a
right.
fish. It doesn't matter if you're the smallest fish in the pond. It's the principal.
It's
Those lawyers are coming for you.
it's the Nintendo Ninjas, right? So yeah, I found it interesting. First, I'll talk about Pokemon Legends EA. I've already seen a lot of the new Mega Evolutions. It kind of got me hyped again. I was like, going into this game and this release, I'm like, you know what? I don't want to keep falling into this trap. Like, I will get the game, I will play it. Mega Evolutions to me speaks a lot because there was only two generations of games that had Mega Evolutions, and that was Gen 5 and 6, no, 6 and 7 ish. X and Y, and then ORAS, the remakes.
Oh,
So they both had Mega Evolutions, and then we never saw them come back again for like 4 generations or 3 generations.
do you feel like it was a good gameplay loop, like having the megas?
Yeah, I really do. It definitely at the time broke the meta. It was definitely broken. But this game seems to be reintroducing it just to bank off the hype now, the popularity,
Mm.
because it's at an all time high. I think this game has a limited Pokedex. I think there's maybe only 250, which is a little bit of a shame
I'm
because,
okay with that. Like
yeah,
I mean, I guess if you're gonna catch them all, it's one thing, but
yeah, yeah.
there is a lot of Pokemon now.
Yeah, there's a lot, and I think like Scarlet and Violet maybe had 400 Pokemon plus in the
Dang.
DLC. So like, I think it's okay that they've shortened down that list because it allows you to catch a lot of them now and actually play through it. This also has a lot of online multiplayer. The one thing that I think people are complaining about right now, and it seems like this, is autosave now is a option by default, and you can't turn it off. So when like Pokemon Legends Arceus and a bunch of older games, you could turn off autosave, and if you can't catch a Pokemon, whether it's shiny, it's an alpha, whatever, you just soft reset and you try it again. Well, you
You
can't
can't
do
do that in
that.
this one.
Yeah, and I think they specifically did this because now that there's online ranked multiplayer, they don't want everyone to have all the strongest Pokemon, shiny Pokemon, and be like, "Oh, look, I can just defeat everyone online." It's so disappointing because I like to play these games on my own, single player, at my own leisure, and try to catch what appeals to me. So very disappointing that you really can't do that. I think in general, it looks like this game, the reviews are out today, have the same ratings on
Oh,
OpenCritic and Metacritic as Digimon Time Strangers. So I found that actually hilarious that Digimon has seemingly released just as good of a game as Pokemon. Now, will it sell as much? No, obviously not. Probably sell a fraction of it. But we talked about this last time, and I'm so glad now that like people are recognizing Digimon. So it's like Pokemon, I was right on it, about an 80% or so on open meta. Digimon's right roughly around the same.
that's awesome.
There's some
That's really
competition
good
now.
for them.
Yeah, there's some competition now, but overall great. And I think the new mega, some of the new megas really stand out. Like again, I'm not going to leak them. Well, Yeah, I don't want to spoil any of
You
that.
don't
So
want the ninjas after you,
yeah,
bro. You don't want the ninjas after
I don't
you.
want the ninja. So, but for those people that are interested, play it or just check out gameplay before you decide to buy it. The one thing I will say again, a big complaint is people were basically right. This is just Lumino City, flat textures. There's really not more outside of the city aspect. And even though there's a decent story with characters returning from older generations, I don't think that can really make up for the fact that this is a limited scope sandbox and it could have been so much better.
Yeah.
Um,
I I mean, I have to imagine like transitioning to a gameplay mechanic that's so different probably ate up so much of the time because you
yeah,
can't reuse assets, you can't reuse animations,
yeah,
right? So I feel like a lot of that, you know, and especially if you're not using AI, like that takes a lot of work, right?
that's true.
Because really now you're switching to like actual 3D. So yeah, I mean, I'm okay with 250 as long as it's like quality, over
Yeah,
quantity. But yeah, I mean, 82, I'm actually pretty surprised. I mean,
yeah, I'm kind of
especially with
too.
how Scarlet and Violet was, like you never know. I would
Yeah,
not have been surprised if this scored 71. So
yeah.
82 is actually
I
better
mean,
than I expected.
I remember when Scarlet and Violet came out. For the first month or so, it was in the 60s and like Metacritic and
Yeah, it
OpenCritic.
was bad.
It was
So I
horrible.
mean, I think this is probably a W for them.
Yeah,
I mean, in the grand scheme of their history of their company, okay, maybe not a W, but like compared to what we got at the tail end of the Switch, like
yeah,
it's kind of a
pretty good.
W.
Yeah, so I'll give them some credit for that, and I just know people are gonna buy it one way or another.
Oh yeah,
Like
it's gonna
people,
sound like crazy. Um,
and then I guess one other thing to this is there's bigger leaks. So from the Terra leaks, more information has been released about Pokemon games coming out in the future, and people, I guess someone leaked the tentative plans for the next 5 years, and
do you think
so
it's legit?
I think it was legit probably 3 to 4 years ago
They
because
may have changed it.
I bet you things have changed. Games canceled or pivoted, and became something else. So Gen 10 is coming out next year, most likely. That's what it looks like. Pokemon Winds and Waves, and maybe that name is subject to change, but it seemed interesting. So,
Yeah, that seemed pretty fleshed out. Like, I mean, maybe someone made that all up, but it did actually sounded legit.
yeah, sounds legit. I mean, it looks like they're going to go with the same formula of release the game and then DLC later in the year or just slightly after the New Year's. And I guess it's based on Southeast Asia or something like that. I want to say.
Yeah, it's a chain of no. Actually, I think it's a Greek archipelago. That's what I was reading.
Yeah, so some people said it was Greek archipelago, and then some people
Maybe
said
it's
it
like
wasn't.
Indonesia or something. I mean, it's a bunch of
Yeah, they did say it
it's a
in.
bunch of islands, right?
Yeah.
So
So there was that. They leaked that I guess a Legends 3 or another Legends game is in the works, and maybe it's based on the Galarian region or Galarian Pokemon. There
that would make
was
sense.
a leak about a new MMO RPG game that connected four regions: the Sinnoh, Hoenn, Johto, and Kanto region.
That's the one I felt like was unlikely.
Yeah, I feel
Like
like that's
that.
going to be
That's
unlikely.
yeah. I mean, if they're already like messing with the formula for the Pokemon Legends enough, like I don't know if they would do something that
Yeah, I
experimental.
really don't feel like I think Legends is the most they would do, and then they
Yeah.
experiment, then tweak it there, that formula. And then the fourth thing that was leaked was Gen 11, which seemingly is planned for 2030. So now we are seemingly going to get a game every 4 years rather than three for new generations, which I think is good
I
because
mean, yeah,
you need
I
the
mean,
extra
just
time.
so many Pokemon, like,
Yeah,
and they're gonna make Pokemon forever, right?
yeah,
So, like,
like it shouldn't, it's never going to end,
I
right?
mean, how many Pokemon are we gonna end up with? Like,
Yeah,
5,000?
probably.
I feel like at a certain point, like, they're gonna stop making as many generations. They're gonna space them out more, and then just have like intergenerations.
Yeah,
Like one and
interstitials.
five, 2 and 9.
Yeah,
Something like that because so much, so many
yeah.
Pokemon.
That's what we're seeing now, right? Like in those plans, none of it talks about remakes. Like where's our
Yeah, I
Gen
was
5
actually
remake?
expecting that. So
So that, and then there was a lot of interesting tidbits that kind of were released from the leaks too. Like there was definitely rumors 10 years ago about how Junichida Masuda, I forgot his name, who was arguably the biggest director and creative director of a lot of the Pokemon series up till Gen 5, was basically demoted. And it seems like a lot of leaks have kind of confirmed that because it got pretty toxic and he held and centralized a lot of the power within the company for a long time.
mm,
And at a certain point, because of favorites and politics, etc., I guess they had to like get him out of those positions and not let him lead games anymore. But I think that was a detriment because you add that plus the fact that Pokemon transitioned from standard definition to HD, plus on top of that, COVID. I think all of it hit them so hard, and Scarlet and Violet and Sword and Shield were just a bit of a disappointment overall.
yeah.
So yeah, it was just interesting, and there's more leaks that keep coming out to this day. But till this since this today.
Yeah, that's fascinating. And I guess in a weird way, like this seems more believable to me because I feel like if I was just gonna make up stuff, like I would have definitely said something about remakes,
Yeah,
right? Because like I felt like that would be something trustworthy, right?
yeah,
Like you're likely to get it right. So the fact that those leaks said nothing about remakes, right?
makes me think it's like
It kind of makes them sound like they're more confident,
yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
So okay. Yeah, I don't know if I really have anything to add to that. I feel like that covered everything. I mean, I don't know if I really need the next gen next year. Like, I would have honestly be fine waiting until 2027. Like,
Yeah, I
I'm
would
actually
too.
okay with Pokemon games being 2 years apart as
Yeah,
opposed to like every year. But I mean, I guess if you're making money, why not? But
yeah,
2 years feels like a good amount of time, right? And then it's like, okay, then you get the new gen DLC. Then the next year, you're
yeah,
actually getting like not new Pokemon, but kind of something fun and fascinating.
yeah,
And then now you have 4 year development cycles, so you don't have to like kill yourself, and
yeah,
you can actually still have a quality product. I just feel like that's what I would have liked, but
yeah. Same. I would have too. And it's like if it's true that these budgets are really small for these games, they should take an extra year or so, so maybe 5 years, and then beef up the budget.
what are you doing with all the money you're making?
They're probably pocketing it, and that's the sad part. It's like it's so clear within the last decade. If they had just put more money and said we're going to take a little longer than expected to ideate and iterate and be more creative about this, we probably could have gotten something more special. But
Yeah, I mean, Pokemon is just so crazy popular. Like, really, where does that money go?
like,
It's
okay,
so much
to
money.
put this into perspective again, the leaks, we don't know how accurate it is, but the budget for ZA was 13 million, and supposedly the budget for Gen 10 is $20 million USD.
U.S.
USD. Think about it.
They
Hold
make
on.
that back in like one
Hold on.
hour.
Yes, and think about it. AAA games right now budgets are 100 to 200
Wait, so are
million
you telling me
dollars.
Pokemon is an indie developer?
Yes,
Because they sound like an indie
and
developer.
they play like
So
indie games.
they should honestly get the indie game of the year
Yeah, right. And
awards.
when I saw that,
13 million
and I'm
dollars.
just like, this can't be feasible because these games sell 15 to 20 million units, and I'm like, this
And
doesn't
they
make
never go
sense.
on sale.
And they never go on sale. And now the games cost more. They're $70 on Switch
Dude,
too.
that is hilarious. So that's probably what's going to piss them off the most about the league.
Yeah.
They're like, oh no, they've discovered our truth. I mean, I don't know. I find 13 million hard to believe. I feel like maybe that was fun.
Yeah,
I mean,
maybe it's wrong.
13 million is crazy.
It's like I can't even comprehend this because it's like no wonder
Like, is there like four people in the office actually? They have a huge building. You go up to
and
the floor. There's four people drawing Pokemon.
and one of the four is just the CEO. It's like, yeah, just give me that money, and the other three are working like dogs.
Dude, 13 mils. That's crazy.
So I don't know, man. I was just when I saw, I'm like, this can't be. I'm so pissed. I'm like, because
Yeah,
again, let's say the scope of the game increases, fine, that's one thing, but pay for more developers. Sometimes you just need to brute force it, and you just need more developers.
agreed. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, as these worlds are getting bigger, like you need better QA. Like
Yeah,
and if you're not having that, like people are gonna find these bugs and then
yeah,
post them online, and then everyone is gonna repeat them.
yeah. And you know how ridiculed Scarlet Violet was when it first came out? They're just sinking through the
Yeah.
floors. Your character's like all just stretched out, and it's like you.
Honestly, the original Pokemon games are not buggy. Like
Yeah,
I
they were
don't
not.
really. I mean, like the first gen had those like iconic bugs,
Yeah, of
right?
course.
But
But
other
like,
than that, I don't really remember a lot of bugs.
yeah, and again, like that the complexity of your games are constantly growing because of you. You want to keep doing open world games. Well, hire more appropriate people to test it now. Like you
Yeah.
can't have this small team saying, "Oh yeah, we're gonna find
Do we
everything."
do we know how many people work
We
in
don't know how
Pokemon?
many people work. I think there's a rough estimate of maybe like only 200 to 300, and it's pretty well known that they're very slow to hire more people. Like they're always hesitant to staff up, and it's like why? You
Yeah,
know?
especially if you're making multiple projects.
Yeah, that's another thing. So
Okay. I guess maybe we can talk about Project Amethyst because I feel
yeah,
like the main thing I wanted to talk about was Xbox.
yeah.
But you probably know more about Project Amethyst than I do. I mean, I just saw the video a little bit, and then I was like, okay, I'm not actually finding out when ps6 is coming out, so I lost interest.
Yeah, so like just for people that don't know, this is a collaboration between Sony and AMD that was announced, a partnership that was announced a year and a half ago, and it's like Sony and AMD are now working together more collaboratively because they've started to realize like as the console generations move forward, again, the complexity or the way our CPUs and GPUs scale are not good enough now to give us high fidelity games with good performance. And so they now need to find unique solutions to make these games more efficient. So they came out with a second video with AMD, and they announced three new things, which were radiance cores, neural arrays, and universal compression. And so this seems to me like the equivalent of technology NVIDIA has already had for like probably the last 5 to 7 years. The radiance cores seem like the tensor cores, or no, like the ray tracing cores. The neural arrays are basically similar to the tensor cores in NVIDIA chipsets. And then the universal compression just seems to be a more unique way of compressing all sorts of data and making things efficient and lessening the burden on the CPU. Because right now the bottleneck is always the CPU. So what happened? They started using all these companies started using machine learning and using the leftover compute on the GPU to come up with, again, frame generation, a bunch of like path tracing, ray tracing like features, and PSSR, FSR, etc. All that ML machine learning capabilities upscaling. So it was nice to kind of see that they announced this stuff, because at the end of this video, Mark Cerny basically said like, and I'm excited to bring these technologies to a future console in the next several years, and the next couple of years. And I'm like, wait a minute, next couple of years? Like, supposedly your new console comes out in a year and a half, maybe 2 years at most. Like, I don't know if this means that PS6 comes out in 2028, 2029. Like, I was like a little
Yeah, it was
confused.
really unclear to me. I don't know why this video exists though. Like, why are they? Yeah, I was just wondering.
It's
Like, is Sony? Are they just trying to jump on the AI bandwagon
for
because
sure.
everyone is like talking about AI? Because it's like it's we all know the consoles they're all going to use AI, right? Like, I'm not surprised by that, but I guess like it's nice to know how and that they're really like focusing and they have partnerships. That's great. It kind of to me felt like a Me Too because like Microsoft has been releasing AI stuff, but like at least with Microsoft, like I actually got a better sense. Like they were like, oh yeah, it's like AI game generation and like oh you put in some stuff and here's what you get, and I was like, okay, this feels more tangible. Like maybe it's just because I'm not an engineer, so it's like going over my
Yeah,
head. But I was just like, oh, cool. You're like doing all the stuff that everyone else is doing, and PlayStation always does great. So I guess I'll see you in 3 years or 2 years, and then I'll be hyped.
yeah. So like a lot of people that probably aren't really well versed in this just are thinking like, okay, this was expected, but this is very
Mhm.
low level stuff. So like the things you're seeing Microsoft innovate on, which is the generative gameplay co-pilot while playing your games to help you like get past a level, that might seem more eye popping because it's like a consumer feature that like
Yeah.
says tangibly, this is how I know how AI is being used. But this is low level stuff, which again, it goes back to this whole point of console generations are no longer like previous ones where I just brute force by adding more compute and there's a generational leap. That's no longer the case. And so what they realize is if they don't focus heavily on ML solutions for their next generation, it's not going to be a generational leap. And then people
Mm,
probably won't want to buy their
I
consoles
see.
anymore.
So I mean, in a way, this is kind of signaling like AI is going to take over, right?
Yeah,
And there's no other way
there's
for
no
us
other
to
way
advance things, right? Like you
because
are going to have frame gen and all
yes,
all
you
the
need
AI
it.
stuff.
You need it because people A are going to expect, I don't want 60 FPS anymore. I want 120 or I want at 4K or at 1440p because if they don't go this route, basically consoles become so expensive, it'd make more sense to buy a mid spec or a high end PC, which will be roughly the same price and will perform better
Yeah.
at that point. So they have to find a way to keep costs
But then
down.
they're probably going to be AI heavy too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. But this is their way of keeping costs
so
down.
do you feel like the internet is taking this news good or bad or like not really like neutral?
I think
Because
neutral.
I would think that like so everyone gets so upset at Nvidia with the 5000 series, and maybe yeah, Nvidia had the worst marketing ever. I'll give you that, but like, I mean, they're all going in the same direction. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
Andy and Sony are basically doing what Nvidia
Yeah.
is doing, and Nvidia was like crucified,
Yeah. They were crucified. And it's
right?
like, yeah. So I would say neutral only in the sense that there's a minority or maybe even a majority, but minority of people online that are upset that this generation is almost over and there hasn't been any generation defining video games,
Yeah,
essentially.
I get it, but the tail end, from now until 2027, it's gonna be bangers.
Yeah,
People will
I
be
think so.
satisfied, and
I,
like GTA 6 comes out, everyone's gonna
yeah,
shut their
and
mouth.
Wolverine.
Yeah, GTA 6, Wolverine, they come out, everyone's gonna shut up.
Yeah,
Everyone's gonna be so happy.
and that will define this generation. But so I think that's one. People are upset about that. I think people are a little bit excited now to know that like we're finally pushing consoles again more towards a PC focus. Like architecture wise. They've always been aligned since the last 10 years, but we're finally catching up fidelity wise to now more
Yeah, I
to
mean,
a PC.
especially like with frame gen and AI, like it just makes the divide so much, like stranger.
Yeah,
It's like harder to quantify because it's like, okay, I could get like real, frames, right, and run at this level, but all right, fine, I'm getting fake frames, but honestly, it's still running fine,
yeah.
right? And
And the performance is much smaller.
right, and it's like, yeah, I mean, are people going to care if you're running like a 240p game at 720p, and
Yeah.
then upscaling 4 times the frames, right, versus running it natively at 1440? Yeah, there's going to be like a group, a group of people online who are going to be very
Yeah.
vocal about that, but a lot of the gamers I talk to are not going to care.
Yeah,
They're
they're
just
not.
going to care about what is the price I'm paying.
Yeah, what is the price I'm paying? Like, if this is going to charge me more than $600, we have a problem, right?
Yeah.
Um, and again, I feel like the only concern I have about, again, the way they're telegraphing this, cool. You want to be a little more upfront with your consumers, great. They also said in this video that they're only in the simulation phase. Like Mark Cerny said that. So this also has me concerned because you have to go from simulation phase to getting prototypes to developers to then beef up their engines and say, this is how we have to really now innovate to utilize your technology better. And then you
So
have
they seem kind of far off.
that's what I think.
So I think this console generation will be longer than we expected because it started in 2020, right? And
Right.
so if they follow their normal trajectory, it was 8 years.
7 years from 2013 to 2020.
Okay, so then we would expect something 2027, 2028. So I would guess it's probably going to be 2028.
That's what I thought. I think 2028 because they're in such a tight deadline. But then there's rumors right now from Kepler, who's a very famous leaker. He's like PS5 Pro stuff and something else. I think Xbox's next gen stuff. Basically said that they've already taped out most of their SoC and that they're planning for a 2027 release. He's like I literally have paperwork that's telling me right here that 2027.
Are they doing the thing where they're jumping on the AI bandwagon, but it will not be
There at launch,
finalized at launch?
which
And
would
it's
be disappointing.
oh no, I can see it. That is what big tech does.
That would be very disappointing because it's like,
I mean,
don't give me this stuff with it not
Sony
being
is
ready.
normally pretty good at delivering, so I will trust them. But man, that's a tight timeline.
It's a very tight time.
I mean, I don't have the expertise in engineering, but if you're saying that, like, yeah, man, like.
But like, you have to have at least let's say the software isn't ready, but the hardware is. Like, you're telling me, okay, which I could see this. Hey, we're gonna sell you this console. It's $900, and a year later you'll be able to use all the features. Like,
I mean, Apple got away with it, right? With
that
the
is very
iPhones.
disappointing.
Apple got away with it. A lot of people are getting away with it, so I can see that happen too. Man, that's crazy.
Yeah,
That's the world we live in, though.
That's the world we live in.
I guess maybe we can swivel from that to the new Xbox leaks for next gen, and then probably talk about Game Pass price going up.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe this is backward order, but when I saw the Magnus leaks, I think that's what they called it, the next gen Xbox. I honestly was not that surprised. Like, I felt like me and you were just having that conversation about how we feel like Microsoft is going for the luxury like look, right?
Yeah.
And then I heard about Xbox Magnus, and it's going to be like $800 to $1,000, and I was like, okay, that I can see that. I'm not surprised, right? Because I feel like, PlayStation is going for that, we're going to be a luxury product, but we're going to be within arm's reach of everybody, right? And because we sell so well and we have such brand recognition, like, we can eat up the costs, right? And so that's what works for them. And I feel like Microsoft is just like, nah, screw it, I'm done. Series X is way more expensive than PlayStation 5. Whatever, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm done. I feel like they do not care how expensive their products are. And I feel like the natural progression of that is, let's go for the luxury gamer, because those are the whales. I feel like that's what Microsoft is going for. Like, look at the ROG LIX, $1,000. People are buying it like crazy, right? And including my buddy Arjun. And so, like, those are the whales. Those are the people who spend a lot. Those are the people who play a lot, right? And look at Xbox's like user base. Like, what is it, like a third of PlayStation, and yet Helldivers 2 sold so well, right? Like the people who really play, like a lot of the people who have Xbox, they really pay. They play. They spend a lot of money, right? And Microsoft's like, all right, let's juice them,
Yeah.
And honestly, like if Xbox Magnus is like $800 to $1,000, more expensive than PlayStation 6, everyone's gonna freak out about how expensive it is. But if it comes out and it's like not like 1.2 times more powerful, but it's like 1.5, 1.8 times more powerful, I kind of feel like that's a convincing argument, you know?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, like, I feel like at this point, Microsoft has been converging their PC and console solutions, and I think it's going to be a PC console hybrid.
Yeah.
I do feel like by the time it releases, they'll have streamlined their OS so that way it's forward compatible. So it will run Xbox games, but then PC games will now run on a new version of Windows that allows them to be played on
Yeah.
Xbox
I
systems
mean,
as
is the
well.
Xbox Ally X not just a test? Like, basically
Yeah.
use that same software and instead of a handheld format, make it $1,000 and make a console, and people will be like, "Whoa, okay, so for $1,000, I'm able to buy Xbox games that I know will run well, and I can still get my Steam games. I can
Yeah.
still get my everything game. I don't have to force myself to buy Xbox games,
Yeah.
right?" And okay, $1,000, but do you see how expensive GPUs are getting?
Yeah, it's like
How
expensive.
expensive is the 5090 now?
Yeah. And I feel like, this kind of ties into like some of the other things that have been going on. So for this last 2 weeks, crazy uproar because again, a really well-known leaker came out and said, hey, there was concrete plans of releasing a next gen Xbox in 2026. And now all of a sudden that's up in the air. And Microsoft is going to go through more layoffs in Q1 of 2026. And basically, everyone took that as, wait a minute, they're canceling their next gen Xbox. And they really never said that. They just said it's not concrete as it was prior.
Yeah, but I mean, that was a stupid plan to begin with. Like, why would you release the ROG Xbox X, hype it up 2025, and then release the next gen 2026? You're gonna piss off everybody who just spent $1,000, and those are your most loyal fan base.
That's
So, like,
true.
who thought this would be a good idea to begin with?
I think they weren't thinking about the Xbox LX because that came together really quickly when they dropped their handheld stuff. And I also think that they thought back to the old Xbox days when they're like, we released the 360 1 year before
And that
PS3
helped
and
us.
they
Yeah.
gave us a head start. But now I don't think at this point they
Yeah.
care. I won't be surprised
Even if they release a year early, I don't know if people buy the new Xbox.
They probably won't. In my opinion, the reason why they won't is because Xbox needs a firm and strong rebranding. Like, they no longer have a firm vision of what they should be anymore. And everyone's so confused about their strategy that I feel like they're lying because, okay, in the last week, those leaks came out about potentially canceling next gen, right? And then Microsoft came out, actually responded literally a couple days ago, like, no, we look at our announcement we made with AMD. We're still making dedicated silicon for next dedicated hardware next generation. And it's like, we know they're prone to lying now because when the whole debacle about going multi-platform came out, it was leaked months in advance. And they said there was like no red tape, all off limits, like all games could go multi-platform eventually. And then Microsoft said, no, 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 no. They came out with a video with Sarah Bond and Phil Smith. Like, it's just 4 games. And then what happened months later? Fuck it.
But the thing is, technically they're not lying. They're telling half truths.
That's the
because they are. If you pull up the quotes, they technically didn't tell you anything that was true or false, but they said it in such a way that it left them enough room for the future.
This is why
that is some next level corporate lawyer talk.
Yes, that definitely is. They're masters of it.
They're so good at it, and it's like, are you saying what I think you're saying? I don't know. It's like, it sounds like you're giving me what I want, but there's a but at the end.
Yeah, it's a but or and asterisk. And in my opinion, they do need to rebrand because it's like, again, you don't understand your vision anymore. And if you're going to change the way you do things, rip the band-aid off now. Like, as a consumer, if you are going to cancel plans or you're going to change the way you release your hardware, like, let's say it's all in the cloud.
But the thing is, this is actually Microsoft's fault because these are leaks, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, think about it. Like, in the company you work, if every single thing got leaked that you were doing, it would totally tarnish your public image, right?
That's true.
And so, like, I think every company in America, like, we don't really realize how much chaos there is inside. And if we actually looked behind the scenes and saw how much chaos there is,
it's always
you were like, oh my God, are you guys like sitting in a room and just burning all the money we're giving you?
Yeah.
Like, what is wrong with you guys, right? Maybe Microsoft is like next level of it, but like, I do think there are certain leaks that Microsoft wants and other leaks Microsoft does not want. Yeah. And then it's some of these leaks we're seeing and we're just like, oh God, what is happening over in Microsoft?
Well, that's
And then they're constantly trying to cover their butt, and then
yeah.
they're just like stuck.
They're stuck because they themselves don't know what's going on, right?
Yeah,
Sometimes, and it's like one of those things where I hope that some executive didn't come in and just said we're canceling now a bunch of budgets. We don't want next generation hardware to come out in next year. We don't want blah and blah and blah. It's like, okay, maybe we shouldn't
yeah,
be knowing about all this, but then don't come out and make an announcement about your AMD partnership
yeah,
and then release the Xbox Ally X and then be like, oh yeah, we told you last year we were going to talk about next generation plans this year. So,
yeah.
sorry, that's not happening anymore.
So I guess like maybe my opinion is a little different than yours. I think it comes down to like what do you see Xbox right now, right? And I think if you have always seen Xbox a certain way for a long time, right, you're gonna get burned because you're still thinking about old Xbox, right? For me, I just accepted the fact, and I think I don't know where I accepted it, but like I feel like my heart was broken a few times, and then I just realized if you are signing up on the Xbox bandwagon, you're joining an experimental program,
Yeah.
right? Like it
That's
basically
cheesy.
feels like you just opted into a Windows Insider program,
Yeah,
right? That's what you're getting, right? Like you should not expect stability. You should not, expect that like these people are going to have everything figured out because Microsoft is trying to be a disruptor right now,
yeah.
right? And so it's like, I think I kind of have a counter opinion. Like I hear all the news that's swirling around the Xbox, right? With Game Pass, with this and that, and I actually get kind of excited because I'm like, oh, yeah, like you're disrupting, you're trying to
Yeah.
change the status quo, and like I've expected the fact that like what I'm gonna get from Xbox is disruption and not knowing what's coming next because they're trying to figure something out on the road to greatness. I feel like I've been watching so much football. Like what I'm expecting is the Lions just got the new GM, Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes, and they're drafting, right? And they're not going to always draft right. Some of those people are going to be complete misses, but you got to just trust the vision. And the problem is with this analogy, no one is trusting the vision because Microsoft has failed them too many times. Right, and so I get it. But like that's why for me, I'm like, I'm okay. I'm like, okay, Microsoft's gonna screw up 2025, Microsoft's gonna screw up 2026. When they screw up, I'm not disappointed because I expect them to screw up because they're in an experimental phase.
If you accepted that this is what they are now. So like some people have not let go, like you said, the old image.
Yeah, they still want the 360 days, right?
Yeah,
like
they still want 360 days. And for me, I'm also open now to disruption. I don't want two OEMs out there to both purely be traditional because I'm always now going to be biased towards one of the consoles because they clearly won out. So if Microsoft can carve out its own niche now and do something different, I guess what I'm still going to buy both consoles.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that, which goes now to the whole Xbox Game Pass and raising costs. To me, I'm still okay with this a little bit because they are experimenting.
Yeah.
They're experimenting the way they distribute games, the way they can play games, and again, the potential of their hardware. This is all tied in because I think personally, again, if they say the next generation or so, all of it's going to be in the cloud, like in our servers, their next generation silicon. Fine. Well, maybe I just need to access a subscription just to play games on the cloud.
I mean, the thing is, like, Microsoft, as soon as they bought Activision Blizzard, they were like, guys, we are not trying to compete, right? Like, in the way we used to, we are going for the moon, right? Like, that is what we're trying to do. It's like Tesla building their rocket ships and it blows up like 10 times. Well, not Tesla, SpaceX. Right? So I guess like with me, when it comes to the Game Pass price, and I'm going to sound really naive, but when I saw the price increase, I was not expecting the massive amount of backlash that I was seeing, right? And I get it, like everything is getting more expensive. So like when video games get more expensive, it really sucks, and I empathize with that. But at the same time, it's like, guys, like, have we all been living in the same world? Like, what did you think was going to happen?
Yeah,
right? Like, I totally expected this, right? And it's ironic to me that like everyone is crapping on Microsoft because they're saying Game Pass is diluting the value of your games. So then they increase the price of things, which inherently actually increases the value of the products that they have in Game Pass. And now everyone's upset that it's too expensive. So it's like either way, whatever you do, people are going to be upset. And so like to me, I actually thought this was the right move to make. I don't know if it was the right time to make it, but it felt like the right move because it felt like the inevitable end product, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and it felt like this was always what Game Pass was building towards.
Yeah.
I'm just very shocked that they felt confident enough to do this in 2025. I would have thought they would have done it in 2026 or 2027,
Yeah.
right? Where they would have like had this separation of tiers to kind of increase their audience pool and separate them into different, like really different types of gamers and different pools. I didn't think they would be confident and ballsy
Yeah,
enough to do it
yeah,
this year.
like so that's a good point. Like I'm not shocked that they did the price increase. I'm shocked that they did it this early. And like you only do it once you have confidence. Like Sarah Bond said earlier this year, like, oh, Xbox Game Pass has made us 5 billion in revenue. So was your confidence that high with that amount of money being generated? I don't know because okay, we talked about this offline, right? And I said this, and the examples I gave were like Netflix and Uber. Both of those started off relatively cheap, and when it became adopted by the mass, that's when they took
Yeah,
advantage and they gave us a lesser experience at the lower tiers. And they took the things
yeah,
you loved and said, you relied on this so much, we're going to force you to pay more.
yeah.
And you know you are going to
I
pay more.
mean, when the product feels like you cannot separate it from your life,
Yeah.
and then they drop the price increase, then you're upset about it. But what are you going to do? You know,
Yeah.
like I remember how much everyone freaked out about the Netflix price increases. There was so much rage on like, I'm quitting, screw
Yeah.
Netflix, oh, no password sharing. Look at Netflix stock.
Yeah.
Look at their revenue. Look at their user
Yeah.
base.
And their subscribers have gone
Every
even
single
more.
thing
Yeah.
went up.
They took the hit, the initial hit with
Oh,
the
yeah.
first quarter, and then it just
The blasted because
yeah.
Netflix is such good material. Like they know you're gonna stay, and
Well,
they know you're gonna take it.
and on top of it, the barrier to entry, again, psychologically now, you go, wait a minute, you have a lower tier. I just have to deal with ads, and it's
But the
$7.99.
thing is, they don't announce them at the same time. They always hit you with the higher tier
Yeah,
first,
and then
and then they piss you off. Everyone cancels, and then they're like, "Oh, come back!
yeah,
We messed up. Here's the $7.99
yeah,
with the ads."
yeah, and that's what Game Pass now is
Because
with the
now
three tiers.
everyone's gonna have FOMO. So maybe it was actually a genius marketing idea because it's like everyone's left, and now they're gonna see all this Game Pass stuff: Halo, Gears, Forza,
Yeah.
Call of
And they're
Duty,
like,
Fable.
fuck, I need that.
You know, all this new stuff, and they're like,
Well, here's what I found funny. So if you get if you get the Game Pass, the first tier, the lowest tier, you have access now to XCloud, or what's it called? What's their
Yeah,
cloud
I think
thing?
it's XCloud. Yeah.
XCloud for a limited amount of hours. And then I started laughing because someone posted this online. They're like, wait a minute. So basically, you can play games for 1 hour, okay? And then they're like, isn't that a demo? Like a free
They
demo?
rebranded it.
And then I started laughing. So I'm like, wait a minute, that's so genius because they're gonna make you think you need Game Pass, and then you'll just upgrade the tier because it's not enough time to
You're
play.
gonna like the game. You're like about to kill a boss. Oh, he's dead. Your time is run out. It's like the arcade games. Insert credit card $20 to keep playing.
And I laughed because I'm like, this is literally glorified demo. It's like,
Oh my god, that's
I was
so
laughing
funny.
so hard when someone wrote that. I was like, okay, they got us.
That is so funny. No, you know, and I thought about it and like, look, like this actually solves a lot of problems for Microsoft, right? Because I think both things are true that people have been reporting that Game Pass is very profitable and very helpful for some developers, and Game Pass totally destroys sales for other developers. And I think it depends on the scale of the project, right? And really the scale of the audience, right? And I think this helps Microsoft with that because you know you're subdividing really your target population, right? And so day one, like games on Game Pass is now like the ultra premium thing that you're going to get, right? And so because of that, now the product feels more ultra premium. You're paying $30 a month. Game Pass Ultimate actually feels like Game Pass Ultimate because you're getting something no one else is getting. And it's a lot of day one games, and we'll see. I guess I was a little excited about it because I was like, oh, I have Game Pass Ultimate. I stacked for years, so I have nothing to worry about. And I've never paid monthly. I have no idea why people are paying monthly when you can just get, CD keys and stuff online.
Yeah, I don't know why people haven't done that.
And I don't know why people don't stack on Black Friday, but that's how you really pay nothing, right?
Yeah. But I find it funny because this is, again, it's another psychological thing. This is me personally. It's not even cynicism. I actually think Microsoft wants people to downgrade to the middle tier. They want the middle tier because they go, wait a minute. If we're promising first party games 1 year after they release, it's like a timed exclusive thing. Yeah. Okay, so if you really want to play this game, you'll get the mid tier and you'll still buy your game. And then we'll hold it from PlayStation platforms for 6 months to a year. So then you'll double dip.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like Microsoft actually wants you not to subscribe anymore to Game Pass Ultimate because like they're going to make more money on the people who are staying with Game Pass Ultimate. You don't subscribe, but guess what? Microsoft knows you're going to play their games.
Yeah.
Their games are too valuable. They're too good. You can boycott them, but for how long?
Yeah, how long?
Activision, Blizzard, Bethesda, all of Xbox Game Studios, plus third-party publishers like Ninja Theory. It's too much, right?
It's too much.
And so, yeah, like that $15 tier is now the tier for everybody, right? And so it's like you're basically giving people less, right? And you're charging them a similar amount of dollars, but the deal is still good. You're paying $15 a month. You're getting all of those games within a year. That's amazing. And like, if you think about it, there are certain gamers that will buy every game when they first come out. There are gamers who spend a lot, right? Guess what? They have the money to spend $30 a month, right?
And think about it now. You know what Microsoft already does, right? So they go, hey, if you buy the premium version of our first party game, extra $30, you'll get all these things with it, right? DLC, etc. Well, guess what? If you do that, $30 for Ultimate, $30 for the upgraded premium, you basically paid for the full cost of the game.
That's how they're
for some digital goodies.
That's how they're going to make their money, because they're going after the whales. But they're going after them in a different way, you know? And I guess I have just gotten so used to how accessible Game Pass is. I'm hooked. I mean, I'll pay. I thought about it and I asked myself, what is the maximum amount I'm willing to pay for Game Pass? And before this year, $30, there's no way I would have paid. But this year, I've been so satisfied with Game Pass that when it went to $30, I was like, yeah, that's worth it. Like, you know, I played Avowed, Ninja Gaiden, right? I played Elder Scroll. I played Clair Obscur. I played Doom. That alone is freaking insane.
That's
and
insane.
How many more games do I have to look forward to for the rest of the year? And I looked at that and I'm like, and this is not even their best year. Next year is going to be even better. $30 a month still feels like a steal. And then, everyone's going to say, oh, yeah, well, you know, you can't really own your games, right? But I'm like, at least for me, games don't age the same way as movies, right? And games get remade quite often, movies don't, right? And so because of that, I don't really have as much desire to play a game from 10 years ago because the gameplay is going to be so different, right? But a movie from 10 years ago actually can still hold up, right? I don't think retro games hold up as much for me personally, you know, maybe some will disagree. And it's nice having a physical copy of everything. I agree with you. But it also takes quite a lot of effort to like get your games, get them on sale, look for where you should resell them, wait for a discount, go over there, sell it in person. Like that takes a lot of energy as well.
It does.
And then how much are you recouping? Like, okay, if you're spending $80 on a game and I keep the physical copy, play it, sell it, okay, so then maybe I sell it back for $30, feel great.
Well, again, it's the same, like you said, it's the same with movies. I most of the times watch my movies at a movie theater. I'm not keeping the movie.
Yeah.
I'm watching it for the experience.
And the thing is, like, how much did I got the physical copy, great, right? Yeah. But if I'm going to resell it eventually, then, right, I'm still going to spend like $40, $50 on the experience. But now the downside is like right now I have Assassin's Creed Shadow sitting on my freaking table. I feel guilty about the fact that I spent $50 on it. I don't want to play it and beat it, but I'm going to play it and beat it because I feel guilty about it. And I don't have to deal with that when I have Game Pass because I just have a great catalog. It's like Netflix. I dip in, I play. Sometimes it's not a good experience. I move on, right? But my time is valued, and I'm actually making the most of my time this way instead of forcing myself to play games that I don't love because I don't want to feel like I wasted money.
Yeah, I agree. Look, I think the way we look at ownership of media now for games in particular is changing, and Sony still has their strategy, but they've adopted both. They have their PS Plus and their cloud gaming and their infrastructure and all this. I think, like you said, I think the best example was the movie thing. I pay a subsidized price to watch a movie that I'm never going to own. And if I want to watch it in the future, I have to get a subscription service or this or that, or I do have to buy it, but then I'm paying an exorbitant amount of money. And so I think it's the same thing. I'm paying a subsidized price for Game Pass that gives me access to a collection of games. And whether I like it or not, there's always going to be other things in the catalog that will make up for it eventually.
Yeah.
So I actually think from a proposition standpoint and like the way we're headed towards the future, a lot of people aren't seeing it because they're so vehement from changing from the way we owned games in the past. Ownership, like that in and of itself is so broad, right? So I think
it's more important for people to own something, but like for me, it's like experience and time.
Yeah, it's experience and time. I actually agree with this, and I think the way Microsoft is headed, that's why I think the strategy works for them. And don't get me wrong, don't get me twisted. Game Pass is the only reason why they're still in the gaming
Oh yeah,
business. They legitimately admit it, like literally
they're
admit
only here
it.
for Game Pass.
They're only here for Game Pass. They said they were about to exit the business without acquiring
Yeah,
Activision, and this is now they're going all in, and this is their
yeah.
way. Like you said, they're shooting for the
I
moon.
guess like I'm giving the opinion of someone who is like just hooked on the drug that is Game Pass Ultimate because like as an adult now who's busy and has a lot of responsibilities, the flexibility it gives me, like the ability for me to play on the console, play on my phone, play on my
Yeah, that's so nice.
ally
Allies.
ally, right? And if everything is play anywhere, makes it even better,
Yeah,
right? Um,
it's
that
convenience.
ecosystem works really well. Like between generations, I don't have to worry about it, and it's just a great catalog month after month that only is getting better.
Yeah.
And honestly, if all I played was Game Pass games for the whole year, yeah, I would miss out on some good experiences on the Switch and the Nintendo, but I would actually be pretty
I would
satisfied
still be
because I'm getting good
satisfied.
first party exclusives and I'm getting great third party games. Like I'm getting freaking Hogwarts.
Yeah,
Like
that's
that's only
insane.
2 years old.
Yeah,
It's
it's
such
not
a
as
great game. Most of the really big games that came out 2022, 2023, they all have ended up on Game Pass at a certain point. And so that's insane as well
yeah.
to think about, right?
Well, don't get it wrong. So when you get a complimentary console like the Xbox LIX, even if you don't have Game Pass, guess what? 2 years later, with Steam sales, I can still play that
Yeah, anything
game.
that you're missing, yeah.
So I think, like, if I didn't have a Nintendo console, I'd still be fine because I have access to two of the three biggest platforms. You know?
That's a good point, right? And if that's the future of what the Xbox is, like that's really nice. And I think for people who like money is not as big of a concern. Like obviously money is a
Sure.
concern, but where like time has become very valuable for them, like the Xbox ecosystem makes a lot of sense, right? Because you're just getting so much flexibility and variety. I thought about the price proposition. I think last year the most I would pay was $20, right? I'm not even paying that, but $20 a month. And I think this year the most I would pay is $30, 30 maybe 35 at the most because next year sounds really good. But beyond that, I think that's ridiculous of an ask.
Yeah.
Beyond that, 30-35 is the upper ceiling what I think Game Pass is worth. So they're right there.
They are.
Um,
I think Microsoft. It's funny too. Now that I think about this, I do actually think they're not just competing against Sony. I think they're competing against all the streaming
oh
services
yeah,
because if I had to choose, like, look, I'm already paying for Hulu. Let's say as a hypothetical, Hulu, Disney Plus, and Netflix.
yeah,
Those three combined are probably like $30 to $35. Well, I can either do that and watch some shows I don't care about, or get a huge catalog to games for $30. And if I had to pick, I might just pick Microsoft Game Pass now over these three.
yeah. That's actually a good point. I didn't even think about it, but that's your competition, and they say it all the time. Like it's viewer attention, right? It's like who is actually playing. So I guess like for me, like that's how I felt about the whole $30 thing, and like everyone's going crazy about it. So I'm really curious how this is going to work out. But they doubled down.
Yeah,
They really did, and I do think the $15 tier is the one that's best for most people now,
yeah, for
right?
most
Like I
people.
really feel like that's the one that makes the most sense. You're getting a lot of value, getting
Yeah,
all those games within 6 months to a year, if that, right? Maybe
yeah,
even 3 months. And Microsoft is double dipping everywhere. They're double dipping
yeah.
on the Game Pass Ultimate. Now people are probably going to buy more actual copies of Call of Duty,
Call of
so they'll get some
Duty.
money there. They're
Yeah,
still making their 15 off the middle tier,
yeah,
and then they're still going to make their money off the Sony tier. So
yeah,
I feel like that's probably what's going to happen. And then when Ultimate is going to be like the diehard,
yeah.
you're going to get Ultimate, you're going to get day one, or you just buy it on Xbox, or you wait 6 months to a year and then you buy it on Sony or get it on Game Pass Standard.
Yeah, exactly. And look, guys, if you don't want to pay $360, stack up some Xbox
I don't
Live or
understand why
Gold.
people are not doing
Yeah,
this.
and like honestly, it might not be as good of a deal now because it's the three to
Yeah.
two conversion ratio. So maybe
How
you,
much? How much have we been paying a month? $11,
yeah, we got
$12
we
a
got
month.
lucky. We got lucky, but I think this will be the last of that. But like, let's say you pay 250 to 300 still. That's still not a bad
So
deal.
so right now everyone's, and this is why I was telling some of the people who cancel. I'm like, dude, why are you like canceling such a good deal? Like you're just canceling because you're upset and everything's getting more expensive, so you're trying to like boycott. But actually, this is going to hurt you in the long run
Yeah,
because you like all these games. You're gonna pay them.
yeah, you're
You're
gonna
gonna
pay
buy
them.
them, right? And let's say you're like, no, 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 I'm so upset. I'm never gonna buy another Microsoft game. How long?
Yeah, how long? How long is that gonna go for you
Two
to come
years?
back?
Two and
Yeah,
a half years? You're gonna come back. You tell me you're never gonna
yeah.
buy another Call of Duty in your life?
And all those third party games, well, you're gonna buy them separately now. You're
Yeah,
not.
that's what I mean. So I'm like, now the price is low. The sentiment is against Xbox. go stack your codes.
Yeah.
Like GameStop is selling them for $20.
Yeah.
Right? Go stack your codes.
Yep.
And people are doing this. CD keys is sold out.
That's crazy.
And I was like, man, I've never seen CD keys sold out like this.
Damn, I should have did that. I completely forgot because mine ends in June of next year.
I was getting a little worried about it, but then I was like, listen, Black Friday is going to come.
Yeah.
There's going to be huge discounts. I'll just stack them,
Yeah.
you know? And
All
that's what I try and do. Like, if here and there I find something and it's like, oh, 3 months here is cheap, 6 months here is cheap, right? Pick them up. They don't expire, right? So just sit on them until you want to use them instead of like waiting to pay monthly on the month where you want to use it. Just get a cheap code for like a month or 3 months, and then just sit on it until you want to use it. That's just my opinion. Like, I think especially if you're upset about the price increases, like I would have you consider doing that. And yeah, you're like, oh, it seems like a lot of work, but isn't it also a lot of work to wait for when these new games go on sale?
Yeah,
right? Like,
absolutely. Why would you?
Either way, you're going to be working.
Yeah, why are you going to hold yourself back from playing it? You can wait 2 years to get a game that does go on sale. Then you got to wait 2 years. It's your time. That's gone.
Yeah, but if you're going to wait a long time to buy a game on sale, then why don't you get the premium version?
Yeah,
right. Exactly. Because so that's just my opinion. But I mean, I get the backlash. I think Microsoft screwed up on their date. Honestly, I think it is too early. I think you wait another year because 2026 is such a stacked year. If you're telling me all 4 of your biggest franchises come out and then you're going into November with Call of Duty, like, you know. But I think maybe Call of Duty didn't sell as well as they expected last year.
Probably what it was.
Tariffs are hurting them, right? Development costs are high. They had to recoup losses with the dead studios. Yeah. So I think they forced the timeline earlier on themselves than they wanted. But they'll be fine. They're a $4 trillion company.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I have for that.
So yeah, and I guess this is going to be an exciting month because not just with games, but I'm a big Halo fanboy, and they're going to have the Halo announcement. I think it's at the end of the month,
we'll see.
The 26th. So probably it's going to be around the time of our next podcast. So let's see what they announce. I know there's a lot of people talking about how like the art director of like 17 years left or something like that. So
he's gonna be a lot more to talk about next year.
So. Yeah, so let's see what they're cooking, and then
let him cook,
right? And then probably we'll be talking about Pokemon and some Ghost.
Yeah,
and I don't know. I hope I don't just go back into Hades and play it the whole time because man, I'm addicted to that game, and it's probably going to prevent me from playing everything else.
Tell your wife to join the dark side.
Oh, that game! I have not been addicted like this for a long time. It like feels weird to me to say it's my game of the year, but man, nothing has hooked me that way. I think I really enjoyed Avowed the most this year so far, but man, Hades 2 has me addicted.
Speaking of, before we end this podcast.
Oh yeah, I saw that leak. It seems credible, but yeah, they're gonna have the sprint probably in Halo 1 remake. But I mean, it's kind of what I expected. I think they're gonna do the same thing as Oblivion remastered, and people will freak out because they love freaking out about a Halo. But
no.
I don't know. I mean,
this is a full remake similar to the Resident Evil remakes. That's.
Oh wait, really? I thought what I had seen is it's more like Oblivion remastered, but.
Yeah, so I heard that first, but now this source is so again, grain of salt.
We'll see.
We'll know in probably 2 weeks.
I thought it was going to be more like Oblivion remastered, and they'll have sprinting, and it's like everyone says, "Oh yeah, we don't want sprint," but it's like, man, we played that Halo 3 mode that was in Halo Infinite. Yeah, it was fun, but man,
it's archaic now.
Yeah, it feels weird, like not being able to sprint, and then you don't have the movement speed of Doom. Yeah, it feels slow.
It's odd.
So
we'll
all right, catch y'all later.
See you guys later.